Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Surfside Recovery Podcast. My name is Brian Licata, and we just wanted to let you guys know that if you or anyone is struggling with addiction, to please reach out to Surfside. You can give us a call at 609-709-4205 or visit us at surfside.org and all of our social media platforms. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Surfside Recovery Podcast. My name is Brian Licata. Mr. Ian Koch is over to my right. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. What are your New Year's resolutions? That's what I'm excited to hear about.
I have a project in the works.
Would you care to elaborate?
I cannot.
Okay. There's a secret, ultra secret, super secret project that Ian is working on that he's not telling us.
So it's a Surfside project I took, and I don't really like to do New Year's resolutions. I just like to set goals and then conquer them throughout the year. But there's been something that we've talked about now and then as kind of part of Surfside. It would be something really more community-based. It would be something for our alumni to really get involved in. Kind of super cool. I don't know if it's feasible, but this morning I started the ball rolling to see if it is feasible. And I've talked about it with a couple staff here and there. We've probably talked about it. You probably are thinking.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No idea? Really?
No. I'm sure we may have talked about it. I just don't know what you're talking about. By the way, I might add, I really like it when it's just me and you on the podcast without a guest. Yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. It will be cool. I don't know if it's feasible. We got to figure it out. Write a grant.
So you said like just business goals? Are there personal goals and stuff like that too for the new year?
I mean, I'd like to live in a van and move away somewhere, but
goals are usually an upward trajectory, not downward.
My wife won't allow that one. No, I actually don't know that I want to live in a van. I would like to do some more traveling in my van this year. I would like to get at least 5 powder days this winter on the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to get into Canada to see Newfoundland and Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm. But
I have to get approval to get into Canada first, which is a really ridiculous process.
Yeah. What is it? Any sort of drug felonies, DUIs, or anything like that? You're no good.
One DUI is considered a felony in Canada. I have 2. The DUIs are not. I did not get the DUIs in Canada. I got one in Vermont and one in Philadelphia. But because Canada looks at them as DUIs, you're not allowed to go to Canada.
Right.
So I'm in the process of getting an exemption so I can get in the door.
I've heard of some people that have gotten turned away at the border.
I have been turned away. Yeah, and it was like a 3-hour ordeal, and they threatened to take me to jail. And I had no idea. I mean, that's how I found out I wasn't allowed to go to Canada. And they said if I ever try to go to Canada again, they're going to take me to jail. So that was probably, we'll say about 10 years ago.
It seems weird that they would want to put you in jail rather than just send you on your way.
Well, I think that's why they sent me on my way. And I think so then they flagged me. And so now I got to go through this process. I mean, they want me to write down every single place I've ever lived, every single job I've ever had, the dates from when I've had these places.
Right.
I mean,
they're not making it easy.
No, not at all. And then I've got to send it off and pay some money. And I got really frustrated with the process. And then I got a bunch of water in my engine in the van, so I got even more frustrated and put that off to the side. So we're going to pick that back up and do that. We have, that's kind of yeah, that's kind of what's going on. What about you?
I want to get 2 more contracts in my business at some point over the year. Like have 2 more. I want to take a trip somewhere with my girlfriend, whether it be like a cruise. So I told her last night it was our 2nd anniversary, so we want to go somewhere on a plane.
2 years?
Yeah, we've been
you
dating
guys
for
have
2
been
years.
together 2 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you guys have been together that long.
Yeah. Well, so we counted from when our first date was. The first date we went on.
And you've got a promise ring now.
Yeah, we got a promise ring. She got it. It's inscribed too.
Is it really?
It's engraved. Yeah, you put our
It
initials.
says
in
you better pop the question quick.
She loves the podcast too. She
Good.
watches it all the time. There you go, Tina. Thank you very much. See, C and B.
It looks like the Lord of the Rings ring.
You think so? I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
Never?
I know. I need to get on it. So we're gonna take a trip.
That's like saying I've never seen Harry Potter.
So I was always I had this like preconceived notion that I didn't like Middle Earth type shows.
Solid.
I know. I really should watch it now. Because when I was a kid, there was just for some reason I was like, I don't ever want to watch Lord of the Rings. There was this girl I went to high school with who was like really into Lord of the Rings, and I think that's what turned me off from watching it. Is that she liked it so much.
Sure.
I didn't like her, so I didn't watch it. Let's see what other goals do I have? I want to go get back into the gym. I need to do that since I ended over at the CrossFit gym. I haven't been, so I've been waiting for the New Year's special to come out at the gym in Ventnor because I know it'll be a pretty reduced rate. So I'm looking forward to that. So what are some exciting things that we have going on at Surfside for the year? You want to tell people what we were talking about before the show? Our January plan?
So we're going to take January off from the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to... There are actually, I will say this, I'm still working on getting us on location at a couple places. So
right.
we may end up doing that and just not air them right away.
Okay.
So Dan, if you're watching this, I'm still waiting on those dates from you. Just remember. So, yeah, we're starting a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to give too much information except we're starting a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily this is the history of Surfside documentary.
Correct.
This has to do with some other stuff, recovery related, obviously. And I don't want to give too much information because that would potentially give it away.
And ruin the surprise. We don't want to do that.
So what about, let me ask you this question. So we are, let's see, we are 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We are 4 days away from 2020.
Mm-hmm.
What was the best thing that happened to you this year? That's a hard question, right?
I think
for those of you who are listening, you could also play the game.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best thing that happened to you this year?
I think the coolest thing was learning all the stuff I had to learn to start my business. I think that was really cool. I was talking to Christina last night actually about the, I guess, perception shift that came along with running the business, like having to, just simple things like building these spreadsheets to make sure that I can afford to pay my taxes at the end of the year. That's a pain. It really is. It's a huge pain. But once I had the system in place, like it didn't seem that insurmountable like I thought it was going to be. So I think there was like really a bunch of life lessons that I learned in the process of starting that. So I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. I had a great 2019. All in all, same question to you.
I think so for me it wraps around Surfside.
Uh-huh. Surprisingly or not, that's pretty much what it does for me too.
The majority of my life wraps around Surfside.
Both of us. Yeah, I went from working at the radio station to working for you again to now working for myself, but also working for you still at the same time.
I tell people I fired you again.
I tell people the same thing. Did you ever think when you met me 3 years ago that I would have such a integral role in
I mean, no, but it's not that. We see so many guys come through Surfside, and you can see, it's like, so I talk to parents, and when they're, we're talking about their kid coming to Surfside, almost every parent says, he's really a good kid. Mm-hmm. He really just is a good kid deep down inside. And then they follow that up with, I'm sure you hear that from every parent. Which is true. I do hear that from every parent. But it is also a very true statement.
Right.
Like it amazes me. It just amazes me, like the talents, the kindness, the goodness in the guys that we get at Surfside. And I don't think that's just unique to Surfside in any sense of the word. I mean, I think that is this generation that is lost from drug addiction and these guys who just can't seem to get their life started. Like, they're all in the same boat. They might not have some of the best skills. They might not be realistic in what they think is going to happen and how quickly, they're going to become a CEO or something like that. But it really is amazing, like, how good these guys really are. And if they allow that to come out, they end up thriving, and we see that with, a lot of our graduates. And it takes time. I think that, that's the thing that is so hard to communicate to somebody who is so interested in instant gratification. To be able to explain to someone, look, dude, like, give it 4 or 5 years. Like, it's going to take some time. People can't hear that. I remember being in a position, I was maybe like, I don't know, 1.5 years, 2 years sober or something. And this guy said, man, he said, just wait for another 5 years. You'll be amazed. You'll be absolutely blown away. And I thought, 5 years? You're crazy. I can't wait 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you were probably 25 at the time?
So at that time I was roughly 25, and it's like, and I couldn't, 5 years was like, geez, I mean, that's like, I might as well just die now. But what other option did I have but to wait 5 years? I mean, it was going to happen whether I wanted it or not.
Yeah.
And, and that's what we see. It's like, we see guys, graduate and get stable and start to do well. And, they hold a job, and then maybe they start to go back to school, and, or they advance in their position or whatever it may be. And, it really is special. And so back to what do I think is kind of like the best thing for me this year. So there's a couple things. One, me and my wife very much enjoy some hobbies together, and that I really do cherish. Like, we have a couple things that we really like to do together, and we can talk about, and it's work is not the central focus of our life.
Right.
The other thing in terms of work, so because we're a 501c3, we have to be audited, and so we had some bunch of audits done, and I was looking at like the numbers and where we are, and so we started technically February of 2016. Technically, we had our first resident in May.
I think I met you sometime around that time at a treatment center.
Probably a little bit after that, but May we had our first resident.
Right.
Of 2016. And I remember December of 2016, It was.
So you started February of 16. So you're saying the following December?
So the following December.
Got
so
it.
December of 2016. At that point we had myself as an employee. We had Tim as an employee. And I think Jared was maybe just coming on.
Right.
Maybe just coming on. And we were all working, 80 hours a week, and that was fine with all of us. It was what it was. And I remember like doing payroll and, paying out the bills and, for the month and roughly December of 2016, looking at the bank account and it, saying like $10,000, and just wondering like, where are we going?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? And consistently being terrified that with one wrong move or one shitty circumstance, we would be broke. And when I say shitty circumstance, I mean having to buy a new van or whatever it may be, right?
I think about that same thing far too often.
Oh yeah,
because it's like if one of my clients drops me, like
then what?
Yeah,
then what? Yeah.
Sometimes it's awesome, but extremely terrifying.
It's horrible. I mean, it's not. There's nothing awesome about it. It is terrifying. Living your day to day like that is absolutely terrifying. But so now to fast forward to be at 2019. We're in a really healthy position.
Mm-hmm.
We're not like, I'm not worried about
scrounging together pennies to make payroll.
No. And we always have, I mean, that's some of the things that like, I take pride in is that like, besides taking care of our residents, payroll has always come second. We've always done everything we say we're going to do. We all, always. And, to be able to not be terrified every day,
right,
is really, really cool. So that's nice. And I think 2019 was a big year for a lot of people.
Yeah, I was thinking about it when I was looking up at the board over here. Where you have Ian's got a big like marker board on this side of the wall, and there's like the breakdown of all the staff. Like I remember when I moved in, when it was just it was you, Tim, Jared, and John. Like that was it.
And John was like 20 hours a week tops.
I think by the time I got there, he was starting. It was like just when he started working more.
So maybe 30, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Not a ton.
Yeah, he would come in, take us to activity, and then to a meeting, and then like that was it.
About it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like looking at it now and just thinking how many people have come through, and me seeing people that came in like way after me that are like been sober for like a year, it's really strange. Finally starting to be on the other side of that and watching people come in instead of always being the person that comes in. It's an interesting thing.
I'm sure it's also probably interesting, and I think about this where like you meet somebody at a meeting and they don't even know that you were in, like you had gone through Surfside so long ago that they have no idea that you were even like at Surfside, and then it comes up in a conversation later and they're like, oh wow, you went through Surfside too. Or
and even with some of the guys who've come in the house over the past year, they're like, oh, you used to work here? I'm like, yeah, I had Nick's room, and then Sherman had it, and then there was some, and Kelly too. I said I had like lived there before. They're like, oh wow, I didn't know you lived there. I'm like, yeah, long time.
Yeah, it's cool. It's neat to see.
It's an interesting dynamic. So some closing thoughts. I feel like we're kind of stretching it out here. You want to keep talking?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah. So 2020, we will be taking a break for the podcast for a couple weeks. We'll probably start up around February-ish. But in that time, this, I believe, is our 38th episode, which is pretty cool that we've done 38 episodes. So there's a bunch of them, ranging from, in-depth topics on steps, different guests. My mom came down. People from different treatment centers have been here. So if you want to take the time to kind of catch up on some old episodes, that'd probably be a good thing.
And Sandy has asked us to do a breakdown of the steps, and we will probably do something like that at some point.
Excellent. I didn't know we were going to do that, but
I can't promise it.
Yeah, I guess we're going to do that in
But
2020.
I am acknowledging once again that we did get that request, and we'll probably maybe do like a brief snippet.
Okay.
When we kick back in February. So
sounds good. Well, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Stay tuned on all of our social media platforms for new and exciting news and cool stuff. Bye-bye.
Bye.
As always, if you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out to Surfside. You can give us a call at 609-709-4205 or get us on the web at surfside.org.